Hello, how you guys doing? Welcome to the Messy Sweet Spot. I'm your host Gigi, and I just want to say thank you all for being here. But we definitely have a serious discussion that we need to talk about, and it's about Diddy. Man, it's another boy, 10 years old, that wanted to be a rapper, that is coming out and saying that Diddy has done some horrific things to him. He states when he was 10, he wanted to be a rapper. Diddy coerced him in a hotel, and you guys may say, well, where's the parents? Could you imagine? The parents trusted Diddy just like Usher mom trusted Diddy, just like Justin Bieber mom trusted Diddy. And they said that this boy, when he was 10 years old, he went to the hotel with him and Diddy, and Diddy had him perform raps and all that. And Diddy said, well, how bad do you want to be just like Michael Jackson? How bad do you want to be like Bow Wow? How bad do you want to be a really big star? And the boy said, I would do anything. I would do anything, Diddy. And honey, they said that Diddy gave him a soda, and the soda had a lot of what in it, right? Those type of substances that knock you out. And he woke up with stitches, and it was just horrible. It's almost like a remake of what he did to Usher and Justin Bieber. And I knew Usher and Justin, they were not the only ones. There's been plenty of boys that have been victims of Diddy. But this one has the courage and the strength to speak out. And I'm sure it's plenty more that's probably not here today. I'm sure it's pretty more that just don't have the strength and the courage to speak on certain things like that, because some of them, these guys now, they're grown, they're married, they have kids to consider. I mean, it's a lot, right? So I want us to watch this video, so please react with me. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot, and let's see some things we need to uncover, okay? And I think this is a very warning sign for any parent that have kids that are inspiring to get into hip-hop or to get into the music industry or Hollywood, okay? So let's look and see what we have, okay?
But essentially, John Doe claims that Combs him, and then he lost consciousness, 10 years old. Quote, when plaintiff awoke, he began crying immediately. Plaintiff's pants were undone, and then he says that his private areas hurt badly.
We have always said it is about children. It's not just about me. Never just made it about me. I'm just the loudest one. So I'm telling you right now, a lot of people don't want to get it. There's enough of you to do something.
There are 150,000 unaccounted for children that cross the border every year that are unaccounted for. There is a certain level of darkness that comes with levels of high wealth.
If CPS wants your kid, they can come in and take your kid, and you really won't have a leg to stand on.
Yet another disturbing lawsuit against Diddy has been made public, and it contains some of the most horrific and sickening allegations we've heard about Diddy so far. A man who claims he was only 10 when Diddy did the unthinkable to him is represented by lawyer Tony Buzbee, and Buzbee is now on a mission to expose not just Diddy's alleged crimes against the most innocent, but also everyone who enabled and covered up these crimes. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're now also hearing that this man's foster parents were allegedly involved and got paid off by Diddy to stay quiet. And if that wasn't bad enough, viral theories are spreading that claim Diddy is just one of many powerful figures involved in this rumored organized ring that targets young ones. And there's even talk of the alleged government agency's involvement. A lot of people are now calling for a wider investigation that will look into all of Diddy's connections in high places and their alleged involvement in these horrific crimes. But here's the thing. If the rumors about government agencies and law enforcement being involved are true, then what hope is left that the real ringleaders will be brought to justice? Trust me, this rabbit hole is dark and deep, and while the content might be potentially triggering to some, it's an important topic that shouldn't be swept under the rug. So buckle up and let's jump right into it.
This morning, a California man alleges he was 10 years old when Sean Combs assaulted him during a 2005 visit to New York. He was trying to break into the music industry, and a civil lawsuit says his parents left him with a consultant who brought him to meet Combs.
So in this latest round of lawsuits filed by attorney Tony Buzbee, Diddy is being accused of raping a 10-year-old boy who was left alone by his parents in Diddy's hotel room. And this isn't even the only horrific case exposed by Buzbee. Another lawsuit from a male accuser claims he was 17 when Diddy SA'd him during a 2008 audition for making the band.
On Monday, Texas attorney Tony Buzbee's law firm filed 2 new lawsuits in New York State Supreme Court, alleging that music superstar Sean Diddy Combs 2 underage boys in the early 2000s, and one of them was allegedly just 10 years old at the time.
So according to the first lawsuit, a John Doe who currently lives in California claims that the alleged attack took place in 2005. At the time, he was just 10 years old and he had hopes of becoming an actor or a rapper. Court documents obtained by Variety allege that the boy's parents hired a female industry consultant who recommended they should go to New York to meet with music industry figures.
The lawsuit claims that Combs forced the boy to perform sexual acts. The accuser's parents say they flew with their son to New York City to meet with people in the music industry, and they allege that Combs told the aspiring young rapper that he would have to do things he didn't want to do in order to become a star.
The lawsuit alleges that the consultant arranged for Diddy to meet with the boy for an audition, and Diddy specifically demanded that the boy should first meet him alone without his parents. And believe it or not, the parents actually agreed. The consultant then took the boy to Diddy's hotel room and left him alone with him.
The consultant brought plaintiff to Combs' room, but left him with Combs and told plaintiff that she would be back later. Plaintiff recalls other people in the room or area, but he did not know who any of the people were.
According to the suit, the boy performed a few rap songs for Diddy, and Diddy told him he could make him a star. But then things took a very dark turn, and according to the complaint, Diddy asked the boy, "How badly do you want it?" The lawsuit goes on to say, the plaintiff responded, as might any 10-year-old child, that he would do anything. That's when someone from Diddy's team gave the boy a soda, and after he drank it, he started to feel a little funny. And according to Tony Buzbee, they strongly suspect the drink was laced with substances, including but not limited to GHB and/or ecstasy. After the boy drank the soda, Diddy allegedly told the boy to move closer to him, pushed him down, and told him, "You have to do some stuff you don't want to do sometimes."
The complaint says, quote, after plaintiff consumed his soda and began feeling its effects, Combs told plaintiff to move closer to him, which plaintiff did. Combs then abruptly pushed plaintiff down and said words to the effect of, "You have to do some stuff you don't want to do sometimes."
So, here's where it gets really disturbing. The lawsuit claims that Diddy then showed his and told the boy to kiss it. The boy refused, but Diddy allegedly forced him to perform a sickening act on him, and shortly after the boy lost consciousness. But sadly, it gets worse from here. According to the lawsuit, when the boy regained consciousness, Diddy's pants were undone, and John Doe's private area hurt badly. He then started crying and asked to see his mom and dad, but Diddy warned him if he told anyone about what happened, he would do something bad to his parents. The lawsuit goes on to say that when the consultant returned, she noticed the boy was badly shaken and took him back to his parents. The parents confirmed the boy was lethargic and acting differently, and later developed severe depression and anxiety, which left him hopeless and fatigued. Now, when it comes to Diddy, nothing is shocking at this point. But can we talk about the parents of this boy? So the fact they waited this long to file the lawsuit is not the issue, because the alleged attack happened in 2005, and we all know no one would have listened to these parents back then. Fans would have blasted them as nobodies and clout chasers who are mad their kid didn't make it in tech industry. Remember that a lot of people didn't even believe Cassie until hotel surveillance footage came out. Plus, based on everything we're hearing now, it's likely Diddy had police and judges in his pocket back then. So maybe the parents tried to report it and it got shut down. We don't know for sure. However, what's hard to understand about these parents is why they allowed their 10-year-old to go to a grown man's room unsupervised in the first place. They met this so-called music consultant on the internet and they decided to trust her with their child just like that. Now, you may argue that back then, no one knew that Diddy was a rapist in a PDF file. But let's be real, he still had a reputation that would make any parent be extra careful. And we're now hearing from some music industry insiders that one of the first questions commonly asked to parents at these auditions is, will you allow your child to be taken to places without the parent being present? A lot of parents walk away from these auditions because of that question. So the filtering process happens immediately. So for a parent to say yes to that question must mean they really don't have the child's best interest at heart. And here's where we get to this disturbing theory that's been floating around, that the foster system might be complicit in these horrific crimes. A lot of people online have speculated that the parents of this 10-year-old boy were actually his foster parents. And if you recall, this is something that Allie Carter also talked about in her viral videos. She claimed that Child Protective Services was complicit in delivering her to powerful people, who then allegedly did some horrifying things to her at these secret parties for elites. So if you're not familiar with Allie Carter, she's a young woman who's been making waves with her videos online, where she talks about being a victim of Hollywood's elite at a shockingly young age. Allie first went viral during the COVID pandemic when she shared several videos claiming she was sold through foster care and offered as a party favor at Hollywood parties.
Survivor of King and Hollywood Satanic rituals speaks out back in 2020 about how she was sold into through foster care. Allie allegedly claims that she was a victim of for many years and has witnessed well-known high-profile celebrities and politicians that have participated, such as Joe Biden, Michelle and Barack Obama, Jay-Z, Beyonce, and many more.
Denzel Washington, Beyonce Knowles, Ellen DeGeneres, Whoopi Goldberg, Lady Gaga, Chrissy Teigen, John Legend, Joan Rivers.
But that's not all. According to Allie, this whole operation is highly organized, and she even alleged that some government agencies might be involved. Allie also claimed that there's a whole underground tunnel system used for transporting young people who are used at these depraved parties for elites.
In the garden area, and employees led us to underground tunnels. We had to take an elevator and stairs. We had to be led. There is no way that you can just walk into a tunnel. The entrances and the exits are in your face, but there's no way that you can just walk through tunnels. You'll get stuck. You'll go deeper and deeper. You won't be able to come back out because it's hard, because the tunnels run all different directions for miles and miles and miles and miles. So if you go down the wrong one, you'll get stuck, and it's confusing to turn back around to get back to where you're going. So you have to be led in and out. I think people assume that when you get underground, it's just this dirt, and you keep going deeper and there's more dirt, and then there's cages of children. No, that's not how it works. It's different. There's cities underground. There's warehouses underground. There's actual homes underground. People built these tunnels, and they built them for decades. There's a lot of elite celebrities. They go down there for parties.
There's a lot of a lot of satanic rituals, a lot of things that go on.
But Allie didn't stop there. Following Diddy's arrest, she shared more videos, alleging that Diddy's freak-offs were actually satanic ritual.
We're still not on the subject of the kids. All the adults are covering their. All the adults are. I left at a certain time, yet you knew children were there. You knew these parties were not okay. They weren't freak-offs. They were satanic ritual. I have been screaming underwater since I was 3 months old. I went into foster care at 13, 14. We tried to do a case against Riverside County Child Protective Services because Riverside County, do you hear me? Riverside County Child Protective Services was involved in my.
However, Allie didn't just stop at Diddy. She also named some unexpected names in her video and claimed there are certain people in Hollywood who have this reputation of being beyond criticism. However, according to Allie, people would be shocked to find out what type of sinister stuff these so-called role models in Hollywood get up to.
I never thought that we would see the day where Diddy would get arrested, and I told you guys in that Maria Z interview in 2021 that no one tells on Diddy. P. Diddy. All right? Just the same way nobody tells on Denzel Washington. People don't usually talk and stop and think about the children victims that are going through things right now as we speak, and the ones who suffered through all this bullshit. You know he's about to turn into another Epstein, and then the list follows and it circles back into a web. So why isn't anybody demanding any information on the kids? Huh?
Where'd that supply chain come from?
Do you think that thousands of bottles worth of baby oil was for thousands of who? $65,000 worth of hot dogs and pizza was for who? Over the border was for who? Child Protective Services is your supplier. Is anybody going to talk about that? You don't live in the world you think you do. Everybody that you think is not guilty is about to show you who they really are. I've been screaming for years. The adults who are swearing up and down, I left at 1 o'clock in the morning.
You shouldn't have been there in the first place.
You shouldn't have been there. And on top of that, if you knew that there were children coming in after a certain hour, why the hell didn't you say anything until right now, Howard?
But let's go back to what Allie said about her foster parents. So in another video, Allie alleged that the CPS is involved in this rumored PDF ring, and then Allie's mom backed her story and accused CPS of failing those they're meant to protect.
When Allie was put in foster care, I was advocating for her, and I was reporting back, and I was writing reports and turning in reports to CPS based on the that she was telling me that she was experiencing while in foster care. At first, they embraced me and they were allowing me to have visitation with her. When I started making too many waves, they turned everything back on me. They filed a court order that said I was a predator to Allie, and they were telling me I was not allowed to have contact with her because they were trying to silence things, and they were using that as a means to scare me. CPS was in charge of Allie at that time. She was their responsibility. If they filed a court order that I was her or was her, they should have pressed charges and they should have followed up on that, and they never did. Shortly after that, Allie went missing from CPS care. She was AWOL for over a year. After that year was up, they placed her with me. They said I was a good home and a good fit for her, and they allowed her to be placed in my home. Those are two opposite things in a very short time, but they do that to a lot of parents. That's a tactic they use to silence people, to keep control of the situation, to get people to look the other way. CPS is very corrupt, and it needs to be defunded. It's very evil what they do. They can remove children from any of your homes for any reason. It's irrelevant whether you're a good parent or a bad parent. If CPS wants to take your kid, they can come in and take your kid, and you really won't have a leg to stand on.
And now on top of all this, more industry insiders are starting to speak out about what they witnessed while working for the Hollywood elite. One of them is celebrity bodyguard Big Homie Double C, who recently hinted during his appearance on Real Life Productions that government agencies might be involved in the crimes Ally Carter talks about in her videos. So when Big Homie CC was asked about people turning on Jaguar Wright and calling her crazy after she came for Jay-Z and Beyonce in that Piers Morgan interview, CC refused to jump on the Jaguar hate train, and he said that at least Jaguar is trying to bring awareness to a huge issue that no one seems to talk about in the mainstream media.
There are 150,000 unaccounted for children that cross the border every year that are unaccounted for. There is a certain level of darkness that come with levels of high wealth, because Rook just asked me right now that I think that he could rape somebody. You know, these are people who are not used to being told no. And like, I know a gentleman who has a yacht, right? The yacht probably costs like $200 million. And there's an entire staff that stays on this yacht. They stay for 6 months, the other staff come for the next 6 months. So if you got enough money, you can buy a person. You can buy their time. So that's the level of what's going on. So, you know, I'm not going to debate like facts with people about Jaguar, right? You feel me? This is a lady who got song production credits with Al Green, bro. You know, this is somebody who's a gifted talent, like a real artist, have a real singing voice, like now outside of the studio without synthesizers and effects. You feel me? And like anybody who's on a crusade to bring awareness to human and oppression against women and children, I support. You feel me? Like, you know, because that's really what the cause is. Because, you know, that was always my true message. You feel me? Like, to get my message out, I knew I wanted to throw the people under the bus. But, like, I'm the boogeyman to them. So, like, I ain't really worried about that. You feel me? But it's just like, it's things happening in our country that people aren't paying attention to. You feel me? The Democrats let in 13,000 people with murder convictions illegally through the border. That's outlandish. Crazy. Over 600 people on a terrorist watch list have crossed the border illegally and are moving freely on the undetained list here in America. Each year, 150 plus thousand children come across the border and are unaccounted for. If they're not with proper authorities, they are with cartels, they are with criminal organizations. They are getting, it's the biggest business on the planet.
But what's your take on these new Diddy lawsuits and allegations of foster parents being involved in the cover-up? Drop your comments below. And now let's talk about some fresh allegations making the rounds about how Diddy targeted young ones whose parents willingly handed them over.
What they're looking for, because it was going on the premises of sex, they're looking for pictures of girls that may appear to be underage.
Yes, it was breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child. Because I felt that you could, you know, enjoy also having a black parent to take care of you and help you out.
Uncle Gene's back in action, and he's on a roll exposing Diddy once again. Seriously, every time Gene Deal opens his mouth about Diddy, it's like he's dropping bombshells left and right, revealing just how shady Diddy can get. And let me tell you, his latest revelations, there's something else. Gene just spilled the tea on what really went down with Diddy's adopted daughter, Ava Baroni Combs, and let me tell you, it's wild. Back in 2020, Diddy made a big deal about adopting Ava, but then out of the blue, she was out of the picture just as quickly as she came in. Now Gene's saying there's a whole lot more to that story than what Diddy let on. According to Gene, Diddy allegedly did some pretty messed up stuff to Ava, which begs the question, was that Homeland Security raid connected to her? And are we really supposed to believe that Hollywood's been turning a blind eye to Diddy's shady antics for this long? It's time to dig into this whole mess and see what's really going on.
It's craziness, man. And you know what's so crazy is, bruh, that all these stories has been around the industry for a long time. All these industry people know that Diddy been acting like this and doing this.
All right, grab a seat because this Diddy drama is about to take you for a wild ride. Things have escalated to a whole new level of crazy and uncomfortable, let me tell you. Remember when multiple folks came out accusing Diddy of some seriously shady stuff and then his homes got raided by Homeland Security on suspicions of trafficking? Yeah, it's been a mess. But here's the thing that's got me scratching my head. Whatever happened to Diddy's adopted white daughter? I'm willing to bet a lot of folks don't even remember he adopted her a few years back and then she just sort of vanished. I mean, did you even know he had a white daughter? It was this random announcement out of the blue and then poof, she's gone. Back then, nobody paid it much mind. We didn't know all the stuff we do now about Diddy. Sure, there were whispers and rumors, mostly about him being on the DL. Now I get it, some folks take issue with that, but hey, that's his business, right? Ain't nothing illegal about it as far as I know. And let's not forget, back then, from what we knew, those relationships he had with younger guys seemed consensual, so it was like, none of our beeswax, right? But now, with all this new info on the table, yeah, it's enough to make you shiver, because each lawsuit that's come out has peeled back another layer of this guy. Cassie's lawsuit, for instance, painted a picture of Diddy as someone who wasn't just emotionally abusive, but physically too, like in every way imaginable. Then there's Lil Rod stepping up, claiming Diddy not only assaulted him, but also tried to push him into some grim stuff with other other industry dudes like Cuba Gooding Jr. But man, when Homeland Security swooped in, raiding his pads in LA and Miami over trafficking suspicions, that's when things went from bad to worse. See, up until then, the lawsuits were civil, no criminal beef. But with the feds diving in like that, it's a whole different ballgame. They don't roll out with a big raid unless they've got some serious dirt on someone. After the raid, Diddy's lawyers came out to slam the feds and claim that they were just piling on Diddy and trying to cause drama for Diddy and ruin his public image. His lawyer said, "This unprecedented ambush paired with an advanced coordinated media presence leads to a premature rush to judgment of Mr. Combs and is nothing more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits. There has been no finding of criminal or civil liability with any of these allegations. Mr. Combs is innocent and will continue to fight every single day to clear his name." A federal officer replied to this and said, "We believe that there is a disturbing history of trafficking. We are responding to concrete, detailed, explicit allegations. This is not random. We didn't choose his name out of a hat. We had allegations that we're following up on. Oh, you better believe if the feds are stepping in on allegations, this drama ain't anywhere near done. Brace yourself for more bombshells because there's bound to be some jaw droppers on the horizon. And maybe, just maybe, we'll finally get some answers about what truly went down with Diddy's adopted daughter, Ava Baroni Combs." Flashback to 2020, and there's Diddy going live on Instagram like it's no biggie, announcing to the world he's adopted a white girl named Ava. He even had her on, introducing herself and confirming she's part of the Diddy crew now.
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No, what's your last name?
Ava.
What's your other last name?
Ava.
Ava Baroni Combs? Yes, it's breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you. But you still have beautiful parents that you're my child also. Please tell the story.
So, on the streets, and Papa Cookies decided that he would like to be the daddy man. So then they saw me and decided to pick me up and said to come inside and play with his kids.
Yeah. That's like going around such day. I don't want somebody you want to get fed. I adopted like Madonna adopted kids and everybody else adopted kids. Charlize Theron, everybody that's ever adopted Sandra Bullock. I adopted you because I felt that you could, enjoy also having a black parent to take care of you and help you out. So just clarify it because it's crazy out here online. So I pray with the kids. And I got permission from your mother and say all of that. Just make it crazy out here.
Became violent when I was 6 months old.
6 months.
Four of us.
6 months.
I always promoted.
Yeah. And it's Ava Baroni Combs. Come on.
At the time, we thought that Diddy was great to do this because there was a pandemic and children needed all the love that they could get. But now people can't stop giving him the side eye for so many reasons. And now the video just comes across as being super weird. And people said, "My name is Ava. I'm a Scorpio." That sounds like the beginning of a dating profile. This is beyond weird. And she looked mad uncomfortable. Oh, buckle up because there's more to unpack here. Diddy's comparison of his adoption process to Madonna's raises some major red flags, especially considering the shady rumors swirling around Madonna's adoptions. Reports suggest Madonna might not have followed all the legal hoops when adopting her black kids. And just last year, allegations surfaced accusing her of some seriously grim stuff like human trafficking and exploiting children. There were claims she misled parents into letting her take their kids by promising a top-notch education in the US, only to turn around and adopt them herself, allegedly of course. So for Diddy to draw parallels to Madonna's adoption saga, that speaks volumes. And then there's the curious case of why Diddy's video only featured his sons and not his daughters. Ava herself mentioned wanting to hang with Diddy's daughters, so why weren't they in on the video action? Just the boys? And let's not even start on how uneasy Ava seemed in that video. Now, people are speculating speculating if Ava's discomfort was due to some off vibes in the room. And it's not just Diddy, his sons are in the mix too with some concerning accusations. Justin got called out in Lil Rod's lawsuit, and Christian's got a lawsuit of his own. Makes you wonder if Diddy was thrown off by the heavy atmosphere in the room. But the biggest head scratcher is how Ava seemed to vanish into thin air after that one video. Sure, there were a few sightings with Diddy's twins, Jesse and Delilah, but then poof, she's gone. No family pics, no videos, nada. It's like she blinked out of existence. And considering Diddy was all about her calling him Papa Combs, you'd figure she'd stick around longer than a New York minute. But with all the recent bombshells, those trafficking allegations, the accusations of Diddy's mistreatment of women, fans are starting to piece together a different narrative. They're wondering if maybe, just maybe, something happened to Ava. Could Diddy be involved? That's the million-dollar question. Enter Diddy's ex-bodyguard, Gene Deal, stage left. Not only does he spill the tea on Diddy allegedly mistreating Ava, but he goes even further, claiming Diddy used her for clout, then tossed her aside when he was done. And then comes Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, swooping in with some serious allegations. According to Gene, Diddy's whole deal with Ava was a cheap ploy for PR points. He claims Diddy scooped up a homeless girl he found during the pandemic and paraded her around like his own, but didn't quite give her the love she deserved. It was all for the cameras, apparently. But Gene didn't stop there. He danced around the topic, hinting strongly that something ain't right with Diddy and Ava. He didn't flat out spill the beans, but he made it crystal clear that folks in the industry know what's what when it comes to Diddy. And let me tell you, the rumors are swirling.
It's craziness, man. And you know what's so crazy is, bro, that all these stories has been around the industry for a long time. All these industry people know that Diddy been acting like this and doing this. And yo, it's a lot of stories that goes around in this industry about not just him, other people. Jimmy Iovine. Ain't nobody talking about Jimmy Iovine. He got sexual charges and everything on him. But he got those publicists that's keeping it out off of CNN. It's keeping it off the major news reports. Nobody's talking about that. This is something that goes on, man, that they're gonna push up under the rug, and a few years later, Bad Boy 5, 6, 7, 8 will be out.
Sadly, Gene's got a point about the industry turning a blind eye to bad behavior time and time again. Look at the likes of R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, and Bill Cosby. Proof's in the pudding. Even Cassie spilled the tea in her lawsuit, revealing how Diddy's crew of yes men were more than happy to sweep his dirt under the rug. So when Gene drops hints like this, it's hard not to wonder what's really going down. And then he goes and drops another bombshell, suggesting Diddy might have some less than flattering footage of Ava stashed away somewhere. You catch my drift? Word on the street is the feds are sniffing around for those tapes if they exist. Makes you wonder just how deep this rabbit hole goes.
What they're looking for, because it was going on the premises of sex trafficking. They're looking for pictures of girls that may appear to be underage in a sexual context. Like they in an act. That's what they're looking for. So now they're gonna go through all those devices. If somebody got any kind of weird fetishes that they got little kids or little girls or something like that in any kind of pictures or any kind of photos that they took out of there.
This situation becomes crazier and more concerning when you take into account how many women have come out to sue Diddy for extremely inappropriate behavior, going back to the early 90s, which means that Diddy has allegedly been doing this for at least 30 years. 6 different women have come out to sue him for varying degrees of inappropriate behavior. Now, let's talk about Joy Dickerson Neal, the latest leading lady to step forward with some seriously wild accusations. She claims that Diddy allegedly spiked her drink and then did some truly heinous stuff. I mean, talk about a horror story. According to her lawsuit, Diddy had been hounding her for a date, but she wasn't having it. She'd heard all about his shady reputation with women and wanted no part of it. But somehow she caved and agreed to go out with him. And that's when things went from bad to worse faster than you can say red flag. According to reports, the complaint alleges Combs intentionally drugged Dickerson Neal, leaving her unable to stand or walk. The suit said she left her drink unattended with him at the restaurant, and afterward, under alleged pressure from Combs, she took a hit from a blunt. They then drove to a music studio, the suit stated. When Dickerson Neal couldn't exit the car, Combs allegedly took her to a place he was staying to aid her, according to the filing. Even worse, she revealed in the lawsuit that Diddy had made a video of him ing her and he shared it around. Reports had it that, days later, a male friend named Devontae Swing, a member of the popular 90s R&B group Jodeci, revealed to Joey that he viewed an adult tape along with other people, according to the suit. Joey said Swing feared his band would lose its record deal if he spoke against Combs. Another woman claimed that Diddy and his friend Aaron Hall got her and her friend totally drunk, and then he and his buddy Aaron Hall allegedly do some seriously messed up stuff. Yeah, you heard me right. This victim decided to keep things on the down low and filed her lawsuit anonymously. Jane Doe spilled all the tea, claiming they all crossed paths at an event hosted by MCA Records. But instead of a fun night of partying, it turned into something straight out of a nightmare. According to her, Aaron and Diddy were super charming during the night, offering drinks and being charming. After that, they invited the ladies for an after party at Aaron's place. According to reports, while at Hall's apartment, Jane Doe was offered more drinks and was coerced into being intimate with Combs. After Combs finished doing his business, Jane Doe laid in bed, shocked and traumatized. While Jane Doe was trying to get dressed, Hall allegedly barged into the room, pinned her down, and forced Jane Doe to be intimate with him. Then there's the other anonymous accuser who claimed that she was just 17 when Diddy and a gang of his friends allegedly SA'd her at his studio in New York. She claimed that Harv Pierre, who is the former president of Bad Boy Records, allegedly picked her up from Baltimore on Diddy's behalf and flew her in Diddy's private jet to New York, where they allegedly drugged her, got her drunk, and then proceeded to allegedly SA her. The court document said, while at the studio, Ms. Doe was SA'd by Mr. Combs, the third assailant, and Mr. Pierre in that order. While Mr. Combs was SA'ing Ms. Doe, he complained that he could not get off unless she pinched his nipples as hard as she could. Mr. Combs then watched on as third assailant, who Ms. Doe had not even realized had begun, SA'd Ms. Doe as she told him to stop. After third assailant was finished, Mr. Pierre took his turn and then forced her to give him oral action, during which Ms. Doe was choking and struggling to breathe. The lawsuit also said, when Mr. Pierre finished, he left Ms. Doe in the bathroom alone. Ms. Doe fell into the fetal position and lay on the floor. Her privates were in pain. Finally, after a period of time, Ms. Doe regained her bearings. However, she could barely stand up and had to be helped to walk out of the building and back into a car. She was taken back to an airport and flown back to Michigan. However, she has very limited recollection of her transport home and only remembers being in her car sometime early in the morning. Even worse, 2 more women have come out in the past 2 weeks to claim that Diddy allegedly SA'd them, and they brought separate lawsuits against him, bringing his total number of SA lawsuits to 7. Chile, 7 lawsuits in less than 6 months is just some nasty, nasty business. For those who haven't been following the drama, a 5th woman has come out to accuse him of allegedly SA'ing her in 2003. The woman is a model named Crystal McKinney, and according to reports, she claims the rapper plied her with alcohol and possibly laced grass during the 2003 encounter, then brought her to a bathroom and forced her to her knees, demanding she suck it. Reports went on to say that McKinney alleged that when she refused to comply, Combs grabbed her head and forced her to perform oral action on him. She lost consciousness and awoke in a taxi to realize she'd been SA'd, although it remains unclear whether she meant there was an additional SA beyond the oral encounter. Fans were quick to point out this lawsuit is how similar it is to the one filed by Jane Doe last year. You know, the same lawsuit where she revealed that she claimed she was allegedly picked up by Harv Pierre in Michigan and taken to Diddy's studio in New York, where she was supposedly sexually assaulted by Diddy and his friends. According to Crystal, she and Diddy met at a men's fashion week event at Cipriani. He invited her to his studio afterward. Once there, McKinney alleged they drank some expensive booze with friends and then began passing joints around the group. The grass was very powerful, so much so that she began to feel like she was floating and feared it had been laced with another substance. Combs then made her go to the bathroom where he forced himself on her, McKinney alleged in the suit. After the incident, McKinney claimed she was blackballed from modeling and became so depressed that she she tried to kill herself in 2004. So allegedly, not only did Diddy hurt her, he also ruined her career. A sixth woman named April Lampros claimed that she had 4 terrifying intimate encounters from the mid-1990s to the early 2000s. She accused Diddy of battery, assault, SA, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and gender-motivated violence. According to reports, the documents also contain claims that the plaintiff has suffered and continues to suffer harm, including physical injury, severe emotional distress, humiliation, anxiety, and other consequential damages for which she is entitled to an award of monetary damages and other relief. Allegedly, it happened when she was an intern at Arista Records, where Diddy also worked under Andre Harrell before going on to start his own label, Bad Boy Records. April also claimed that, around a couple of years ago, Ms. Lampros was told that a video of her and Sean Combs having been recorded by him without her knowing. It said he showed it to multiple people. So the thought of Diddy adopting a girl child when he has a history of this behavior is super concerning. Girl, this whole situation is a nightmare. And fans said, did anyone else feel uncomfortable by the fact that Diddy made it a point to put his white adopted daughter on the spot to tell her adoption story? She clearly was uncomfortable with the whole situation. And Diddy and his fam were just laughing and flaunting her like an object. I adopted you just like Madonna. Well, Mr. Combs, Madonna is being investigated for trafficking and banned from other countries. There is so much wrong with this video, it's chilling. Sick people. And this whole Diddy situation seems a lot deeper than I think we all.
It's so much that's going on out here in these streets, right? I just can't believe it. It's just, I can believe it, and I do believe it. It's just so shocking. But I want to know your thoughts about all this. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe here at the Messy Sweet Spot. And I'll see you guys on another video. Bye.